Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Haven't made one of these in a while, and I want to talk about how these Bible verses that I'm talking about, how it compares to real life. The title of today is You Have to Process Your Own Oil. And when I get to that part, you're going to understand what I mean by that. But in life, you have to process your own oil. You can't just borrow somebody else because you don't know what they had to go through to get their oil. That's why you have to process your own oil. So, Mike Motivation, can I motivate you to be prepared for when opportunity comes? And we officially get right into it. Thanks to everybody who's been watching. I know it's been a while. School, church, a lot of things been going on in these last few months. Bear with me. Thanks for supporting and watching, like, sharing, and subscribing. Let me know in the comments what you think. And I just had to do this before this year ends. I wanted to make this. So getting right into it. This is the parable of the oil lamps. Oil, whichever one you say. Oil, I don't know, however you say it, pronounce it. The oil lamps, right? Verse 1. At the time, the kingdom of heaven will be like the 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out and met the bridegroom. In life, we all have a lamp or a vessel. I'm trying to get you to visualize. We have a lamp or a vessel to be prepared for opportunities when they present themselves or when opportunity comes. It's up to you to maintain your lamp. It's up to you to go through the process to get the oil for that lamp. Nobody else. Is up to you. You have something that you're responsible for. When you want to become an adult, you have a lamp that you have to make sure that it's prepared. So, when I think when I moved out or my mom moved out of town, she asked me did I have it under control. I had to be prepared. Was I fully prepared? I was not. But I'm telling any young person, if you want to move out on your own, do the preparation now while you're young. Think about what is it like to pay bills? What is it like to be responsible? What sacrifices do I have to make? Prepare yourself now. Verse 2. 5 of them were foolish, 5 were foolish, and 5 was wise. I think it's safe to say that everybody that's lived long enough has experienced both sides, foolish and wise. I speak for myself. I've experienced both sides. And even somebody like me that was too smart for their own good, you can use wisdom to do foolish things when you don't use sense. You can use wisdom to do foolish things. But it lets me know that even in the midst of wise people, there are foolish people. And when you're growing up as an adult, you can choose to be wise or choose to be foolish based on your actions and choices. It's not automatic. It's a process that leads up to foolish. It's a process that leads up to wise. I understand we make mistakes. I'm not saying you won't, but your choices to be wise should outweigh your choices to be foolish. We agree on that? Okay. Verse 3. The foolish ones took their lamps but did not take any oil with them. This is the process of becoming unprepared. Sometimes we do things in life and we're not prepared for what we're doing. We'll bring ourselves to these things, but we're not prepared. And I'm saying to any young person, even any person my age, don't go to something and you're not prepared. You don't have the oil in your lamp. You got the lamp, but you don't got the oil. You got your car, but you don't got oil in the engine. You're going to lock the engine up. You want to go to the interview, but you don't have the right presentation. You're not prepared. Please make sure you're prepared. When opportunity presents itself, you should always be prepping. And be prepared for when the opportunity comes, or that will be foolish. If you want to do anything in life that involves being successful, it comes with a level of preparation. Preparing to be committed. Preparing to do the homework. Preparing to endure the hardships that come with the journey. There is a preparation, but if you don't have the oil to maintain the lamp, you will find yourself in a foolish situation. I'm telling you from experience. Preparation, very important. And if you're not prepared, you'll miss out on a lot of opportunities. Verse 4. The wise ones, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. People who are prepared think about things that people that are not prepared, right? The tortoise and the hare, having things, thinking about the worst case scenario, being prepared. Not only did they have oil in their lamps, but they also had a jar with oil in it as well, because they knew that they may need some extra oil. Same way in life. When you go into the corporate world, what are you taking into the corporate world? What did you prepare for in the corporate world? When you become an adult, what did you learn while you were a young child before you got into adulthood? Because believe it or not, you can prepare yourself for some of the things that you're going to take on as an adult. But you have to be willing to work on being prepared. The wise ones took oil in jars along with their lamps. When wisdom is embraced, a person's thoughts and actions will go towards getting prepared when opportunity comes. That lets me know that the opportunity may not be 2 days away. It could be years away. But if you stay preparing, whenever that opportunity comes, you'll be prepared. Even if you're not in church, if you're just in life, you got to have preparation, whether you agree with it or not. I remember when my younger days, before I got married, you talking to women, you got to be prepared for who you're dealing with. You got to be prepared because you don't know what's going to be said. You don't know what's going to be done. You have to be prepared for either way, right? Same way dudes want to be in the streets. You got to be prepared for what the streets entail. And if you're not, you're going to be surprised. You're going to be taken off guard. So in any scenario, you got to be prepared. You have to be. Or you're going to be thrown off guard, or you're just not going to be ready. Verse 5. The bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. Patience is a learned skill. Sometimes opportunities come when you're not looking for it. Sometimes when opportunities not there, we tend to, as humans, to relax, to sit back, kick your feet up. Kick my feet up. Slumber a little bit. You got caught napping. Patience. Not letting your guard down. Staying prepared like a boxer. Even when boxers are not fighting, they're still training. Why? Because they're staying in shape for the next fight. Same way in life. You have to stay prepared for whatever you're doing. Because you never know what's around the corner and you never know when opportunity comes. Be patient. Stay prepared. You never know. Verse 6. At midnight, the cry rang out. Here's the bridegroom. Come out to meet him. When opportunities come. Sometimes it seemed like it came so fast, but you didn't realize the time that led up to it. But it just pops up. It seemed like it just pops up. Boom! It just pops up. Even when you are surprised, the preparation will have you ready, even when it seems like the last minute. That's why it's important to make sure that you have the proper, as a man, have the proper presentation for whatever field you're going into. Even if you're not in the field yet, if you want to work in something, do you need a button-down shirt? Go ahead and get you one. Do you need slacks? Go ahead and get you some. So when the interview comes, you get that phone call, interview at 11 o'clock, so-and-so day, you already prepared because you got the outfit in the closet to be presentable for whatever field you go into. A lot of times, you may think that somebody did something at the last minute, but they may have been preparing for that opportunity. And they just didn't tell nobody, but they were prepared. Success has to be cultivated through preparation. No way around it. And as you see at midnight, it came at midnight, they were asleep. But there were still 5 wise and 5 foolish. Let's talk about it. All the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. Verse 7. All the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. When opportunity comes, when you got everything in place, all you got to do is get up and handle business because you're prepared. No different in sports. A lot of players that are great, they even work out in the off season. They stay prepared. They keep their lamps trimmed. Back in the day, they don't have a lot of them like they used to, but lamps had a thing called a wick, and it was oil in the bottom of it that kept the wick moist to be lit, that held the flame. That's what they mean when they trim their lamps. Now, in real life, to keep your lamp trimmed, that means that you're staying sharp on whatever you're preparing for, whether it's education, staying sharp, your career, staying sharp, spiritually, staying sharp. Being able to stay sharp in the aspects of life, to be prepared. So now we get to the meat of how life can sometimes be when a person is not prepared. We finna get to the meat of it now. Verse 8. The foolish one said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil. Our lamps are going out." This happens in real life. Let me break this down. This happens in real life. When people are not prepared, they will try to borrow and use what somebody else has worked hard for. The thing that people don't realize, whether you're in school, they try to look over somebody's shoulder. Well, let me borrow some of your work. In life, hey man, let me borrow this, let me borrow that. They don't know that they're saying that they're not prepared. And then it's not just one time, it's a pattern of being unprepared. A lot of times you have to be self-aware of, am I prepared, or am I setting a pattern of being unprepared? But you got to be honest with yourself. Notice it say the foolish ones said to the wise. A lot of time the foolish, they may talk about the wise, they may antagonize the wise, but at some point, they always come back to the wise and ask them for something. And let's see what the wise one said. Verse 9. No, they replied. The wise virgin said, no, they replied. There may not be enough for both of us and you. Instead, go to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves. A lot of times people don't like to hear no, and they don't realize they're not saying no to hurt your feelings. You got to know because you was unprepared. And if you was prepared, you wouldn't even have to ask them for their oil. A lot of times in life, people, like, they feel entitled to your success or your results. And if you tell them no, they feel like you're doing them wrong. So there are some things you cannot let people borrow. Why? Because they don't know what you had to go through to get your oil prepared. They didn't know what you had to do. People want to borrow your results, but not the process it took for you to get it. You can't borrow my oil because I had to fast to get this oil. I had to stay up late at night doing homework to get this oil. No, you can't borrow this oil. I don't care how you feel. It ain't gonna burn the same. You're not gonna know how to use it because you didn't go through the process to get this oil that I have. So go get your own oil because you're not prepared. You didn't go through the same process. You have to get your own oil. And if you don't have enough, that's something that you got to deal with and be prepared for the next opportunity that comes around. But no, you can't get this oil because you didn't go through the process. You didn't go through the journey. For me to just give you the oil and you just burn it freely like you went through the process. In life, I try to tell any young person this. You have to go through your process. Life is work. There's no way around it. You got to go through the process. And you can't just go around borrowing stuff from people your whole life. At some point, you're going to get a no. You're going to get a no. And they're not saying no to hurt your feelings. They're saying no because they worked. They went through the process it took. They made the sacrifices it took for them to just give it to you and because you're not prepared. And you got to be honest enough to say, I had to tell myself this a couple times. I missed out on opportunities because I wasn't prepared. Wasn't ready. Didn't have stuff in place. Or bad decisions I made in life caused me to get to know because I wasn't prepared. Not being able to get the job because my credit was jacked up. I wasn't prepared. Not being able to get this because when I was young, get traffic tickets all the time. I wasn't prepared. Not being able to work in this career field because all I had was jeans and t-shirts. I wasn't prepared. You got to be honest about what's going on, what you got going on. And I'm just telling you some of the stuff I had to come to a realization when I read this parable when I was younger. But no, you can't borrow the oil. You got to process your own oil. You can't borrow this oil because you don't know what I had to go through to get the oil for the lamp and then have the oil in a jar. The oil in the jar is not for you. You got to get your own jar of oil. And as you can see, they told them, go buy some for yourselves. Verse 10, verse 10. But while they were on their way to buy the oil, the bridegroom arrived. The virgins who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. You can miss out on an opportunity because you're not prepared. It happened to me so many times. I can't blame nobody but myself because I was not prepared. Missed out on interviews, wasn't prepared. I went into interviews, they asked me a question about something, couldn't answer it because I wasn't prepared. It sounds like an easy word, prepared, but in life, it will challenge you to stay prepared because there's a level of sacrifice, there's a level of commitment, and there are things that you may not be able to do like everybody else because you're wanting to stay prepared for whatever. On every level in life, you got to stay prepared. Even animals. When you look at the lions, in order for a lion to be a predator, they have to stay prepared. Or if they don't, they're not going to live that long. Whenever I missed an opportunity, I wasn't prepared. And let's be honest, as humans, sometimes we relax too much and delay preparation and try to do stuff at the last minute. I'm guilty of that. Delaying stuff and doing it at the last minute, not being prepared. And I'm trying to work on that and get better at that daily. That's why I wanted to do this tonight. I didn't want to wait till the last. I just wanted to do it. I was on the computer studying something, and I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this now. Let me get it done now. So I had to prepare it, type it up, get it done. Now, last 3 verses. Later, the others also came and said, Lord, Lord, they said, open the door for us. But he replied, truly I tell you, I don't know you. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. You don't know when the opportunity comes. And when you're not prepared, you will miss out. There is nothing worse, I can tell you from experience, there is nothing worse than when that opportunities come. I'm not prepared. You're not prepared. And then the other side to that is you never know when that opportunity will present itself again. Sometimes you get the sweetest deal, but you're not prepared for it. Somebody said, hey, I got some land to sell, but you don't got the money. You're not prepared. You might not get that opportunity for another 5 years. That's why it's good to be prepared. It's good to keep your mind vigilant and ready and stay prepared. Because you never know when opportunities come, and you got to process your own oil. You can't borrow another person's oil. You got to go through your own sacrifices. You have to go through your own way of processing to get the oil, to have the jar of oil and the lamp with oil. Some stuff you can't borrow. You just can't borrow. Because you're not going to borrow the suffering, but you want to borrow the oil. You're not going to borrow the fasting, but you want to borrow the oil. You're not going to borrow the sacrifice, the late night prayers, up doing homework late at night, whatever it took to advance. You're not going to borrow that, but you want to borrow the success. It don't make sense, but some people still will try you. And you see what the 5 wise virgins said, no, you can't borrow this oil. Go get your own. And I'm saying this in life. You got to process your own oil. Stay prepared. Don't get caught slipping. Because when opportunities come, you never know when they come back around. Could be a long time. I'm telling you from experience. I've missed out on many of opportunities because I wasn't prepared. When I was a young man, missed out on a lot of opportunity. And it drove me to always stay prepared. And guess what? When you stay prepared, people will look at you funny. People may look at you different, but it don't matter because when the opportunities come, you're either going to be one or two things. You're either going to be foolish or you're going to be wise. And it's all your choice at the end of the day. Are you going to let people's opinion cause you to be foolish? Or are you going to make the choice, no matter what, I am going to stay wise and stay prepared? This is Mike from Mike Motivation. You got to process your own oil and you have to stay prepared because you never know when the opportunities come. I hope that I've motivated you to stay prepared. Thanks for watching Mike Motivation, and I will catch you on the next Mike Motivation. Bingo.